everybody. This is the Kim Cohen Show. Hello, lovers. So today I'm going to be talking about something pretty important. It's called cold. And not just like, oh my god, I'm so cold. No, like the kind of cold that can kill you. It's kind of funny because growing up in Los Angeles, you don't really like understand the concept of cold. You know, like, we have rain and we freak out and it's like the freeways are closed off and there's car accidents and like the world's gonna die. And it's kind of funny because when you like travel outside of your comfort zone, like maybe to the East Coast, for example, or maybe to Europe or like places that is actually cold with a capital C-O-L-D exclamation point, you understand that you don't even know what cold is really about. Now, growing up, and I was born in Israel, so I was born inside of a desert, so it doesn't get that cold. And then, you know, being raised in Los Angeles, it's like, we don't even really have a winter. It's a joke. I mean, it's sometimes, right now in February, it's been 86 degrees Fahrenheit, so that is like a joke. Anyways, so I had like no concept of like how to really dress in the cold. Now, mind you, I did live in New York, I lived in DC and in Baltimore and in Philadelphia most recently, but like no one ever taught me like the science of cold until most recently, which almost gave me a panic attack because I realized that there's like this whole world that I've never heard of and don't know anything about. But I'm so happy that like I can share the knowledge with you guys, that way you guys don't get sick and die in your travels. Did you guys know the statistics? I actually talked to a doctor a couple days ago. She told me that more people die from getting the flu than from breast cancer. Fun fact. That is not a fun fact, but that is a true fact. Okay, so here's the thing. Every single time I travel, I always get sick. And this time, I promised myself I was not going to get sick. Now, being that I traveled this time to the coldest places literally in the world, I traveled to Norway and Finland and Denmark and Sweden, and I traveled pretty high north. I even got to the Arctic Circle. So we're talking about places, which I talked to, like a taxi driver who told me that like the record breaking for his city in Kemi, Finland is minus 47 degrees, you guys, Celsius. That is pretty out there, pretty crazy. You know, I'm used to, I get so confused with the Celsius and the Fahrenheit. I'm used to like 70 degrees, 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And when I looked at the weather forecast for my trip, it consisted of the weather being really low 30s, 20s, and even in some places 16 degrees, 17 degrees, like in Finland. I even saw 0 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're talking about like an insane, complete polar opposite of what I'm used to, that can literally get me sick, if not die, if I'm not dressed properly. Anyways, I'm here to save your lives. That is what I'm here to do, you guys. I'm here to help you out, to know how to get dressed, because this is the first trip I have not gotten sick in, and it's amazing. It's been like almost a month trip, and I have not gotten sick. So, let's talk warm. Okay. There are a few rules and things you need to know about being warm. Now, until most recently, I didn't really realize that, I know I might be crazy again, but give me some credit. I'm from Los Angeles, sunny California. I didn't realize that you can literally die from being cold. So what that means, well, if you are wearing a tank top, like if you're dressed the way I'm dressed right now, and you go outside your house in 40 degrees weather Fahrenheit, it could take a half an hour, if not less, and you can instantly die because your body can't handle it and it will freeze your organs and everything inside. It's pretty dangerous, pretty crazy. Don't think you're cool that you're walking out with your tank top out in cold weather. That shit is serious as fuck. Sorry, I had to throw that out there just so you understand how serious it is. Okay, so things that will save you from the cold. We're gonna talk about, okay, well, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna tell you guys tips, and I'm gonna show you guys what I wear and what I wore on my trip that did not get me sick. and I'm gonna throw some fun facts along the way, so enjoy the fun. Okay, number one, you need to wear thermal. Thermal will save your life. I'm wearing thermal pants. They're very thin. I mean, there's different types of thermals nowadays. I used to think that thermals only had those like little boxes, but it's not. There's like, it looks like cotton thermals. There's different kinds out there. The best kind that's out there, you guys, is wool, okay? Wool is like the fluffy things that are on sheeps. Some people, you know, they get itchy when they wear it. I get itchy. I have really sensitive skin. But wool will save your life, and your skin will get used to it, but your life is more important than being itchy, although it's sometimes really uncomfortable. They now make wool socks. Wool socks is everything. You don't need to double pair your socks, because I heard that that's pointless, which I completely agree. You just need to wear good quality socks. Wool socks look like this. It looks like normal socks, but they're a lot thicker, and again, they might be a little bit itchy, but you know, life goes on. So they make there's a special kind of wool that only comes from New Zealand, that they make thermal pants with and shirt with, although that you can wear underneath everything that will keep you extra warm. It's the highest level of being warm, okay? Let's just throw that out there, just so we get started. Now, really important is to wear a base layer. I personally just like to wear my tank tops. I don't go all crazy with it, but technically speaking, you should wear like a tank top, like a base layer that has self-drying. So it dries itself up, okay? So it keeps you dry. Okay, fun fact real quick. Now, what happens is, the reason why it's so important to like have good gear is because what happens is a lot of times we go from heat and cold, and so our body sweats when we're inside the heat, because we just, okay, like if you don't have the proper clothes and you like think that you can just like layer a bunch of random things on top of each other, which is one way of doing things, the problem with that is that when you're indoors, you sweat, and the moment you go outside into the cold, your sweat becomes like, the moist becomes cold. So that can get you sick, because now your body is like touching coldness and like moist, like wet coldness. It's like having your feet inside puddle, which is how I got sick last year. So it's really important to wear things that are gonna keep themselves dry, or gonna keep you dry, fabrics. And there's like these crazy technologies out there right now that I didn't even know about, but there's these crazy technologies that can keep you dry from sweating. They can keep the odor away, so you can actually wear things a couple of times without having them smell bad. Another tip, I was freaking out before I left Los Angeles, and because none of the stores had what I was looking for, and it was like the season was about to end, and whatever was left, I was going through like stores, and like it's like extra large, and like you can barely find anything that can keep you warm. And so I decided to order a lot of things online, because people told me when I get to Europe it's going to be more expensive. But behold, there's a bigger and better selection in Europe. So if you can't find anything in your city, or you know, whatever, go to the city that, you know, don't like, there are sales, there are deals everywhere. Just have to find the right place. I actually was bummed out that I spent like hundreds and hundreds of dollars buying all these things that some of them I didn't even get a chance to wear, or they didn't fit me well. Like, you know, go to the city and shop around a little bit, and you'll find like really good deals. Like, for instance, like the wool thermal that were in Los Angeles at REI, they cost $150, and I found really cool ones in like funky cool colors on sale for $50. You know, that's money, you guys, and especially if you need like 2 or 3 pairs. That is like a good way to save your money. So save your money. Another fun fact, gloves one-on-one. Okay, I have like these really cool leather gloves, and you know, they're fancy and some brand name or whatever, but you know, and they do keep me warm. It's not like they don't. They're great. It's just depending on the weather situation. But what happens is, after a while, you know, I can't feel my fingers, and that is pretty scary when you're dealing with that kind of cold weather, because you can get frostbites and die. No. You can get frostbites and they will amputate your finger. That is not something to mess with. So I was told by a bunch of experts, and I've done a lot of research, that the best gloves for you are actually these kinds. Because once your fingers are, you know, next to each other, then it keeps the body heat going through the fingers. So if you do have a choice of gloves, always choose the Muffin Tuffins. I don't know what they're called, but always choose these. Okay. Something that's really important to talk about. So, you know, sometimes no matter how much layers you wear or whatever you do, your feet are cold and there's nothing you can do about it, or your fingers are cold and you can't